College and Career Success. We are now in week 3 of the semester. So hopefully you are becoming more comfortable and familiar with how to navigate through the course and that you're getting everything done. As I'm kind of looking at the last 2 weeks, you've been doing really well with getting into the forums and responding to classmates and getting everything submitted on time. Hopefully it's becoming kind of commonplace now that you've been doing it for a couple weeks. So we are going to be in week 3, which is going to be from September 14th through September 20th. And so I'm going to go ahead and get right into lessons. You can see your week 2 is still open there as I'm recording this. I'm going to get into week 3. So we are starting chapter 1 this week. Chapter 1 will go this week and next week. As you'll see, that's how most of the chapters are going to be, is split over 2 weeks. So there's not going to be too much on any given week. So here's the chapter overview. It's going to talk about the benefits of going to college, not just the financial benefits after you get a job with your degree, but also the mental and physical benefits, the critical thinking process, kind of decision-making process. So that's what chapter 1 is going to focus on. And you'll see that there are 2 assignments this week, which I will get to here in just a few minutes. So we're going to get into the materials folder first. And if you don't have your textbook yet, I do have just the chapter 1 pages copied. Now, this is the only full chapter I can, with copyright, I am allowed to scan and upload. So after chapter 1, you'll need to make sure you have your book because I cannot scan and upload any other chapters. But if you don't have your book yet, this at least gets you through week 3 and week 4 since we're splitting the chapters over 2 different weeks. So when you click on that, it'll open up into a document, and here you can see I scanned it here at work. So it's not in color, unfortunately, but there are your chapter 1 pages. So you can go through and you'll see some of my highlighting on there and some of my notes as well, but there's that first chapter. So hopefully that is beneficial if you don't have your textbook quite yet. For today, I'm going to use the chapter slides to walk us through the concepts of the chapter. Again, as if I were teaching you face-to-face, I'm going to walk you through the chapters, kind of a preview, and then on your own, you are going to read the chapter or maybe like hone in on a couple specific spots. So I'm going to scroll down. The value of a college education. Okay, so you know that one of the biggest benefits of getting a degree is this last one here, increased career satisfaction, salary, and benefits. But there are also other benefits. Students with degrees are more likely to be engaged in their community and overall well-being for themselves and their future generations. And so our chapter has a couple graphics to kind of visually demonstrate that career earnings based on degree, and they have it in this table format as well. Now, it doesn't mention what degree this covers, so it's not saying this is like a medical degree or a IT degree, but in general, this is what someone with these type of degrees, you can see obviously it increases with each level. That's not to say that sometimes people with an associate's degree might be making quite a bit more than that, and that's okay. This is just average together. So that's some benefits of getting a higher education. All right, decision making. So decision making is such an important part of our everyday process, whether it's a student, a worker, a colleague, a friend, whatever it might be. So our chapter goes into depth about here are 6 steps you should take whenever you're trying to make an effective decision. So keep your goal visible. For me, I write it on Post-it notes. If I have a goal, I put it on Post-it notes, and that way I can literally see it anywhere I go. Some people like to write it like on a little quote on a board, or they just kind of remind themselves every morning. So keep it visible. Gather relevant information. So let's say like when you were deciding on Stark State, your goal is visible. You want a degree. Gather the relevant information. Okay, well, what institution is going to work best for me? So I'm going to go to these websites. I'm going to request information. And then you're going to explore your options and look and see, okay, well, you know, this is out of state, so maybe it's not an option right now, but these 3 places are. So you might kind of explore those and identify different options, and then you're going to evaluate them. Maybe you've got it narrowed down to your 2 choices. What are the pros and cons? And then you took action. So you decided on Stark State. And then this is the part that often people forget. Look and see, how did it go? What was the result of your choice? Was it effective? Would you make the same decision again? So those are the 6 steps of the decision-making process. Next, our chapter goes into what's called information literacy, which is basically finding and evaluating information that will help you with a task. Usually finding information is not the problem because we have so much information within our grasp. It's evaluating it, it's making sure that it's quality. And so looking and seeing, how is it constructed? Who wrote this? Where is the information coming from? Is it representing kind of perspective? What kind of strategies are working? So this is kind of the components of information literacy, and I'm going to get to another one that I like to talk about here in the next couple of slides. Also with information literacy, the reason this is important, the evaluation of information, is because 90% of graduates say that they use these kind of skills in their own career. They have to both find information and then they have to evaluate the information so they can use it in some capacity. And I always use this with my students. It's called the CRAP test. I know, funny little acronym, but it works on websites, but you could use it really for text material, journals, and so on. So you look and see how current is this information, depending on the subject. If it's from 2005, it's already out of date. Even sometimes if it's from 2016, that's out of date depending on the field. So how current is it? How relevant is it to your needs? Is this really connected, or is it only just kind of loosely connected? Where's the source? Are they reliable? And then what's the purpose? Are they trying to give you information? Are they trying to sell you on something? So that's a nice way of evaluating information as well. Next, we have the peer-reviewed research process. So in your chapters, you'll see every chapter has a peer-reviewed article. And this walks you through how those articles become published. So you first have to have like some kind of question, some kind of research. What do you want to do? What do you want to know? So you collect your data, you analyze it, and that's like by itself a 1 to 2 year process. After you do all of that, you write it up, you submit it to an article journal editor, whatever journal the audience would best fit. They review it. You don't know who's reviewing it and they don't know you. They give you feedback and they say, yes, we love it, we hate it, or hey, we like it, but you need to work on it. So it's a very lengthy process. So I often have students say, why are we reading an article when, published in 2020, but the research was done in 2017? Well, it's because it takes a long time to go through and sort this out. So there are different parts of a research article. The abstract is the introduction, or the summary, the summary. The introduction is, what's going on here? Kind of just what is the problem, what's the question. The method is the who, what, where, when, how type of questions that are answered. What are the results of this research and what does it mean? So that's part of the research process. And then this slide goes through the reading of the journal article, because scholarly or peer-reviewed articles are not something you can just kind of sit and breeze through. There's a lot of context and meat to them. And so this kind of walks you through like, okay, read the abstract, read the introduction, read the discussion, and then go back and look at different parts. Oftentimes there's a lot of statistics in articles like this, and you may not have to read those parts. So kind of looking at the pieces that are really important. All right, from there, our textbook starts talking about critical thinking. As a college student and really as a consumer of any kind of information, we need to be able to critically think. So what is critical thinking? Looking at different perspectives, looking at evidence, being open-minded and drawing your own conclusion and reflecting on why you believe the way that you do. And so this will go into, I won't talk about it now, but if you want to look at the stages of intellectual development, our textbook does talk on that. And then Bloom's taxonomy, this is going to be the basis of your discussion post next week. It's not this week, but next week in week 4, you'll have a discussion post based on this pyramid here. And this is just showing like a critical thinking process. It's the levels of understanding, the levels of knowing. Remembering is kind of the basic level. You have to remember something before you can understand it, before you can apply it, and so on. And the ultimate goal then is to create. And there's, again, like a little process of going through the critical thinking, making sure that you have the knowledge and the belief in yourself and the desire, and then how can you get that learning? And then finally, Socratic questions. One of the best ways to learn is just by constantly asking questions. This is called the Socratic method. So asking questions and constantly searching for the answers and then asking more questions. So that is a preview of Chapter 1. As I mentioned, your actual text is in there, so that I would encourage you to actually read the chapter a little bit more in depth. Or you're like, you know what, I really want to know more about critical thinking. So I'm going to hone in on that part, or I want to look at those steps again. So you can kind of look and based on that PowerPoint and look and see what components of the chapter you need to spend more time on. All right, so that was in the materials folder. Now, there are 2 assignments for this week, and they are both going to count for week 3 attendance. So completing them by Sunday the 20th at 11:55 p.m. If you get them both submitted, you get full attendance points for the week. If you only submit one, you get half attendance points for the week. And obviously, if you don't submit any, you don't get any attendance points. So just keep that in mind as you're working. So I'm going to go into the assignment folder to get those out. Here is the chapter 1 assignment. It's called the STAR method, and this talks about different skills and decision making and interviewing in particular, because as hopefully most of you are here at the end of your journey, you want to get a job, you want to get to your career. So there's a document here, and it's going to talk about what the STAR method is: situation, task, action, and result. And so it gives you more information about that and why you would use it. You use the STAR method to show how adaptable you are, to show how you can problem solve, how you can manage project management, and how you can work in teams. So please spend a few minutes kind of reading through those acronyms, what the STAR method is and why you would use it. And then the actual assignment is down here. Here's a little case study. So just 2 little paragraphs, little case study. You're going to create 4 interview questions. And there's 4 methods, 4 skills right here. 4 interview questions based on this little case study that might be asked of this interview candidate. So when this candidate goes in for this position, you're going to put yourself in the place of the person who's hiring. You're the employer. What are the 4 questions? What's a question you can ask about adaptability, a question you can ask on problem solving, a question on project management, and a question on team working. Now, to do this, you can just simply enter and then type your 4 questions right here, and you can save it and upload it. Because once you click into there's the browse your computer and save it, or you can click on write submission and do your questions right in there, because you're only really writing 4 sentences, 4 questions. You don't need tons of text here, so it's up to you. So again, you are coming up with 4 questions, 1 for each of these areas that would be asked of this particular situation. That's your first assignment. Your second assignment, if you recall from early on in the semester with the syllabus, every few weeks you'll have a resource that the college provides I'm going to introduce you to, and you'll have a reflection on it. So this week is the digital library, because we just got done talking about the CRAP test and evaluating information and information literacy. So I'm going to have you go to the digital library. There's a link right there. And there's a video, and you can kind of do a lot of clicking around in here as well to look and see, what's going on in here. Let me click around in here. Let me see if I wanted to get help with making sure I know how to cite correctly. Whatever the case is, if you get lost in here, this is kind of the page that'll bring you back to like the very beginning of that. So watch the video. There's some links down here, again, like difference between scholarly and popular, how to access the databases, and then again, right here is kind of like that main page where you can go and look at some really general information and click and play around. So once you've done that, you can see it says explore the links and videos. After spending some time, write a 1-paragraph reflection, so 5 to 8 sentences. So you can either click right in and hit write submission, or if you want to open up a new Word document and type it in here and submit it, either way is fine. It's a 1-paragraph reflection. It's not a summary. It's not, this is the digital library, this is when it's open. It's how would you benefit from this resource? Have you used the digital library before? If so, how'd it go? If you haven't, how could you use it? How do you see yourself using it? Or was there anything in here that you're like, yeah, I really do need help making sure I cite correctly, or I really need to get familiar with searching the databases, or whatever it might be. Please just spend some time, and that's what the resource reflection is. 1-paragraph reflection on how you could use or benefit from that particular resource. So you'll either type it there or upload your document. Again, both of those assignments are due by Sunday at 11:55 p.m. for week 3 attendance. All right, hope everyone has a great week, and I'll be checking in. But in the meantime, feel free to give me a call on my extension, leave me a voicemail, message, email, whatever you need. Talk to you later. Bye.